This video is sponsored by Goat Guns, makers of authentic die-cast miniature gun models. Die-cast models of aircraft and tanks have been around forever, but when I came across Goat Guns' new range of gun models, I was impressed by the idea and the quality of the models. At 1:3 scale, each model has detailed working moving parts. When you select and receive your Goat Gun model, you assemble the kit yourself. The parts snap and screw together. Each Goat Gun kit comes with 3 dummy rounds and makes the perfect interesting desk display. When assembled, I found the models to be reassuringly weighty. I just picked up this M1 Garand, Thompson submachine gun and gun rack, perfect models for my desk in my man cave. Now you too can get your hands on a little bit of history for a fraction of the cost at goatguns.com. That's goatguns.com. Have a little fun. On the 20th of June, the first search aircraft for both sides launch at 5:30 am. On Haguro, Admiral Ozawa is having difficulty receiving accurate intelligence. He still has no idea of the calamity which befell his air wings the previous day, and has been told the land-based aircraft have savaged the American fleet. It is only when he transfers his flag to the carrier Zuikaku at 1 p.m. that he learns the truth. Still believing he can crush the American naval force with his remaining strength and the pilots from the Marianas, Ozawa plans another strike against Task Force 58. With the Japanese fleet operating at maximum distance, the American search aircraft are having difficulty locating the enemy. As the day drags on without any sightings, Admiral Mitcher starts to worry that he has missed his chance to destroy the Japanese carriers once and for all. Yet, at 3:40 p.m, an Avenger scout torpedo bomber from Enterprise announces on the radio, "Enemy fleet sighted," followed by the coordinates. Mitcher and his subordinates quickly huddle. The Japanese carriers are 275 miles away, and with the sun setting soon, if he launches them this late in the day, the strike aircraft that don't run out of fuel will have to be recovered at night. Despite the risks, Mitcher refuses to pass up this opportunity. Minutes before 4 p.m, he signals the rest of the fleet, "Launch first deck loads as soon as possible." Pilots report to their ready rooms where Mitcher's final instructions are written in all caps on the blackboard: "Get the carriers." After their briefings, the loudspeaker crackles with a new order: "Pilot, man your planes." At 4:21 p.m, the carriers swing to the east and pick up speed to launch into the wind. 3 minutes later, the signal is given: "Launch aircraft." The first Hellcats lift off Lexington's flight deck and circle to await the rest of the strike group. Following are the brand new Helldiver bombers, along with Avenger torpedo bombers. To save time rearming, many Avengers are equipped with bombs rather than torpedoes. It takes just 10 minutes for the 11 carriers to launch 240 aircraft, a demonstration of the much improved training of US naval personnel at this stage in the war. The American airmen are now racing against a sun which continues to dip towards the horizon. Aboard each aircraft, the pilots feverishly check and recheck their fuel gauges, calculating whether they can make it all the way to the target and back. Commander Jackson Arnold from USS Hornet Air Group 2 has already made plans for a water landing. "I had decided to have all the planes in the group land in the water in the same vicinity, so the rafts could be lashed together." With this likely outcome awaiting, it perhaps isn't surprising that 14 aircraft turned back due to mechanical problems over the course of the 2-hour flight. The rest continue doggedly towards the Japanese fleet. At 6:25 p.m, the American strike group locates the mobile fleet, which is badly strung out, reducing the effectiveness of its anti-aircraft weaponry. With only 30 minutes of daylight remaining, there is no time to form up and launch a coordinated assault on the enemy fleet. Instead, each squadron dives into battle independently. A combat air patrol of 40 Zeros rises to challenge the attackers, but are quickly overwhelmed by the fighter escort which outnumbers them 2-1. The first ship spotted are the Japanese supply group consisting of 6 fleet oilers. Most of the aircraft ignore them to go for the carriers, but Wasp's Air Group 14 is dangerously low on fuel, and their commander decides to attack the slow-moving oilers. The supply group is an easy target for the Helldivers and bomb-armed Avengers. The tanker Sayo Maru takes numerous bomb hits which sets its flammable cargo ablaze, followed swiftly by the Genyo Maru and Hayasui Maru. Hayasui Maru's damage control team manages to save the ship, but the other two tankers are flaming wrecks and are eventually scuttled. The Helldivers and Avengers are jumped by 6 Zeros, but 5 Hellcats come to their rescue, shooting down 5 Japanese aircraft for the loss of 1 fighter. To the west of the supply group, the main Japanese fleet is coming under attack. Air Groups 1, 2 and 50 head for the northern Force A, with the fleet carrier Zuikaku at its centre. 17 Zeros attempt to shoot down the incoming attackers, but are quickly set upon by the fearsome Hellcats. Commander Arnold had previously attacked Zuikaku at the Battle of the Coral Sea in 1942, and is determined not to let the last remaining carrier from the attack on Pearl Harbor escape again. Hornets dive bombers and 10 bomb-armed Hellcats from the USS Bataan scream in and release their bombs. The carrier takes several direct hits, while near misses cause damage below the waterline. A torpedo attack is launched by 4 Avengers, but all miss the target. With fires raging around Zuikaku, the order is given to abandon ship, but her veteran crew miraculously gets the flames under control, following heroic firefighting. Despite extensive damage, she will live to fight another day. To the south, the main body of American aircraft descend upon Ozawa's Force B. The light carrier Ryujo is attacked by bomb-armed Avengers, but none score a direct hit. However, the carrier Hio is the target of an anvil attack by 4 Avenger torpedo bombers. 2 of the torpedoes strike home, leaving the Hio ablaze. SBD Dauntlesses from the Enterprise follow, planting 2 bombs on the Hio's flight deck, which further erupts into flames. The carrier stops dead in the water and will sink 2 hours later, taking 247 men with her. The next target is Hio's sister ship, Junyo, which is attacked by Lexington's dive bombers. Ralph Weymouth's squadron of Helldivers hits her with 2 bombs, damaging Junyo's flight deck but failing to sink the carrier. The rest of the American strike aircraft attack Force C, the furthest formation to the south. 42 Hellcats, Avengers and Helldivers split up to seek out targets. The light carrier Chiyoda comes under withering attack from Helldivers, but the captain skillfully dodges the dive bombers. Just when it looks like she will escape without serious damage, 4 Avengers execute a glide bomb run and strike Chiyoda with 2 500-pound bombs, which explode within the hangar bay. Unlike at Midway, the lack of fueled and armed aircraft saves the ship from catastrophic secondary explosions. Seeing the light carrier aflame and believing she is doomed, many pilots peel off to bomb the battleship Haruna, which takes 3 hits, including one which penetrates the number 4 turret. Haruna's quick-thinking captain floods the magazine before it can explode, but she is heavily damaged. After 30 minutes, the chaotic attack is over. 18 American aircraft have been lost over the mobile fleet, but the Hellcats and bomb damage have destroyed another 65 Japanese aircraft. Later that night, Admiral Ozawa is ordered to retreat, while Admiral Spruance denies Mitch's request to chase after the Japanese fleet. With the sun about to dip beneath the horizon, the American strike group heads east back towards Task Force 58, with many pilots glancing nervously at their low fuel gauges. Over the next 2 hours, a growing number of aircraft run out of fuel and are forced to ditch in the ocean. At 10:15 PM, Task Force 58 detects the returning aircraft on radar. To prepare his aviators for a perilous night landing, Captain Joseph Clark of the Hornet orders his carrier to turn on searchlights and illuminate it. Despite the risk of a nighttime Japanese submarine attack, Admiral Mitcher quickly follows suit and transmits "Turn on the lights" to the rest of the task force. The American carriers shine searchlights while destroyers fire off star shells into the moonless night as the fuel-starved aircraft begin to arrive overhead. One pilot remembered, "Our formation of ships could be described as similar to Atlantic City." With pilots cleared to land on any available flight deck, the landing operations are predictably chaotic and dangerous. For 2 hours, the exhausted and tense naval aviators do their best to make it back without incident. Most manage to land successfully, but not all. Some pilots fail to catch the arresting wires and crash into parked aircraft, forcing the carrier deck crews to shove the wreckage overboard. Despite the measures taken to get every aircraft home, 80 of the 240 American aircraft are lost in the landing operations, with most ditching in the sea. By 12:50 am, the last American aircraft lands, while destroyers initiate search and rescue. By the time the sun rises, the Japanese fleet has left the area, while Admiral Spruance orders Task Force 58 to return to Saipan to support the invasion. Along with search aircraft, destroyers will spend the following days looking for downed pilots, rescuing most of them. The Battle of the Philippine Sea, the largest carrier battle in history, represents an incomplete victory for the United States. The Japanese have suffered 3,000 dead, versus 109 Americans, but the Imperial Japanese Navy has managed to escape mostly intact. However, the same cannot be said for the once powerful Japanese naval aviation arm. Admiral Ozawa retreats with just 35 aircraft left out of his original strength of 450, and although 6 of the 9 carriers have survived the battle, the losses inflicted in the skies over the Philippine Sea have essentially wiped out the last of Japan's trained pilots. Along with land-based air wings, between 550 and 645 Japanese aircraft have been destroyed in the battle. Admiral Spruance is heavily criticised by many officers for not pursuing the wounded Japanese fleet, with some even calling for him to be relieved of command. Backed by overwhelming air power, US Marines and Army units will secure most of the Mariana Islands by September of 1944. Following the fall of the Marianas, the United States then sets its sights on recapturing the Philippines and fulfilling General Douglas MacArthur's promise to return. It is here that the Imperial Japanese Navy will make its final stand, resulting in one of the largest naval battles in history. On our sister channel, the Intel Report, this week, we're looking at US Navy carrier bomber tactics in World War II.